Imam in reply says that as long as he hasn't committed a sin, that nur will remain. The same thing applies to the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and the Ma'asumeen alayhimus salam. So we've gone there, we've been there, and we have been enlightened. Now, as long as we haven't committed a sin or we haven't disobeyed the Almighty, this nur of ziyarat, it remains. So there are two things that are highly important over here to observe. One of them, it's two kinds of fasts in reality. One is the fast that is needed before you embark on this journey. 3 days of fasting is mustahab, so you can do that whenever you want before you leave. And there is one other, and that is after disembarkation. Now, the main cause of habt amal in such journeys and trips are some reasons, that is lack of tolerance, lack of patience, the tongue and the ugly statements or remarks that are thrown on one another. So here, what we do is that to be safe, it's 3 days of before embarkation fasting, and then after disembarkation, we have to observe the fast of Hazrat Maryam alayha salam, that is lan ukallima al-yawma insiya. That is on the silent mode, reserve mode, quiet mode. So in all these journeys that we embark on, with all these different people that will get together, so getting along, especially after this COVID, people, they have lost tolerance. People, they are scared of one another. It's the after effects or the side effects of this COVID. So it's going to be a little bit tedious and tough. You're going to see so many people at one time after a 2-year break of not seeing anyone, and then in a congregation. So it's going to be a little difficult. But here with tawakkul and having that mindset that they have all been invited by Imam alayhi salam, so if there are flaws in them, we with tolerance tolerate them. With patience, we have to continue with this service and this journey. And that fast of Hazrat Maryam, lan ukallim al-yawma insiya, she said that I won't talk to anyone. So I don't want to say that don't talk to anyone, but go on a reserve mode, on a silent mode, and then be patient, be tolerant with everyone, with the team leaders, with the fellow roommates, whoever it's going to be with you. And then it's a different country, different nation, and then a different language, and within the group also it's mashallah a big group. So it's not going to be easy, but with this tolerance mode and that silent mode, everything can be possible. And then we have riwayat also that talk about the day of judgment, and the best of rewards that will be given says that the best of reward is for someone who masjoonun. Masjoonun means they who are imprisoned. Not that someone has put them behind bars, but they themselves, they have imprisoned themselves from unwanted talk and waste talk, not talking a lot. And especially in these groups, one of the major problem that we have, it is these ugly statements or joking around more than what is required, that breaks the heart of one another. Karbala, it's not a place to joke. Karbala, it's not a place for just talking around. There we have to reflect on ourselves, look into ourselves, and this journey, it has to be a true spiritual journey, a journey that remains for us for the duration of our life. But in fact, even after our death, the barakat of this ziyarat have to remain. And that is by not going through the channel of habt amal, that is losing and destroying actions. In the riwayat that we have, in Quran, for example, 16 different ways have been mentioned how a person can destroy his actions. Now, more or less, you've heard them like kufr and shirk and nifaq and denying the day of judgment or denying the wilayat of Amirul Mu'mineen, not offering prayers. All these are those reasons that would result in destroying, the destruction of actions. So if there are some major flaws in us in this Mubarak trip, we can get them fixed. So it's going to be a correction facility for ourselves And then if we have been summoned by the Imam alayhi salam, means that he wants to put us right. He wants to make all the necessary arrangements that we fix ourselves. And also, mindset in this journey should be that this walk towards Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it's the introduction or the arrangement that is being made, that we are moving towards Kufa and we are moving towards Karbala, because Kufa is going to be the headquarters of the Imam alayhi salam. So moving towards the headquarters of the Imam to avail the return of the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. So that has to be the motto and the mindset of every one of us. So any kind of a doubt we may be having in Usul al-Din, we have to get that fixed in this walk. Any flaws and problems, any major flaws in our Furu al-Din, they need to be corrected in this walk. So it is a ziyarat, at the same time it is a correction facility. Like Hur also, he came to this correction facility center, and that is Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, and is remembered among the best. Now the crime committed by Hur, it's a major crime, but he got forgiven. We definitely are not of that caliber in all the crimes that we have committed or are committing. We are way less than Hur. So definitely with that mindset and umeed and hope and optimism that we will be forgiven, we will be corrected, we embark on this Mubarak journey. So Habt Amal means destruction of actions, destroying the actions. Quran says, In tajtanibu kaba'ira ma tunhawna an nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum, says that you just put away the major sins, we will cover all other flaws and faults that you have. So out of all the wrong that I have to see what are the major flaws in me. Those major flaws, if I address them, the minor ones, they will be corrected all by themselves. Just like when you go to the hospital and if there is someone suffering from a major disease, they look into that major disease, major illness, and they cover it and they treat it. All the other pains and aches and that the person will be suffering from, they are all cured. In this field of spirituality and ma'naviyat also, it's similar. It's the same. Allah says, In tajtanibu kaba'ira ma tunhawna an, if you put away the major flaws and sins, we will cover all those small flaws and all those small. Now the mercy of Allah is such beautiful. He says that I will replace all the wrong that you had done with good, and that is out of the mercy of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, His compassion. So we have to work on this, on Habt Amal. That is, we don't want to destroy our actions. And one of the ways how they are destroyed in these spiritual journeys are by the tongue. So tongue has to be under severe surveillance. Don't let it say anything, especially nowadays. The tongue is very, it's got unlimited talk time and data, especially with these podcasts and all these. Everyone wants to talk. There will be no one in the room, but he's talking to someone. So now the tongue, who has been used to this unlimited talk time and data, has to be behind bars now. For a few days, it's going to be difficult, but it isn't impossible. So especially in these trips, and if we abide by whatever the instructions are given by these sincere team leaders and who want the betterment of the group, and it's not a small group, it's a big group, means we have to have a lot of patience, a lot of tolerance with everyone, and inshallah Allah will definitely, if He has made the arrangements and He has got so many of us together, then definitely He has made a lot of arrangement also. So there is no doubt in that. So in du'as also, when we see, we have du'as like, for example, Allahumma wa a'udhu bika min az-zamb al-muhbit lil-a'mal, that Allah, I seek refuge in you from the sins that destroy actions. So we have to work on that. Any sins that would destroy my actions, that would destroy this ziyarat. And in these trips, it's only these little and ugly statements, especially if you go to the where the food is going to be served. So we may get late, or the food may not be ready, or the food may not be to the mark that we are expecting, especially Zuwar going from this part of the world. Expectations are by default a little higher than Zuwar who come from other parts of the world. So here a lot of taqwa is required, taqwa meaning that a lot of tolerance is required as to what comes up before us and what will be offered and served, and how we react with that. If there is something that is not going to be to our taste and mark, there a lot of tolerance will be required, sabr will be required. And Karbala also, it's not a place of feasting and eating. Karbala, it's the place of huzn, sorrow, and most of the duration of our journey also is going to be in Karbala. And here the dress code has to be different, and it's a good place to reflect, because after Mecca it is Karbala, and according to some riwayat, Karbala it's the first and the foremost when it comes to the land and the place that Allah Jalla wa Ala has created. So it's an honor that has been given to us, that we are coming to a place, getting together, and also not defending haqiqat, that also destroys actions among the habtul amal, that destroy the actions. That if you know what the haqiqat is and what right is, and if we don't support that haqiqat and right, that would also destroy the actions. The people of Kufa, they knew what the haqiqat was. They did not abide by that haqiqat. That destroyed the actions. Or when we look into the khutbah of Hazrat Zainab, she tells them off in strong statements. Ya Ahl al-Kufa, Ahl al-Khatl wal-Ghadr wal-Khadl Atabkun. And when they started crying, she says that, are you crying now? Then it says that until the end of that khutbah. So one of the other things also that would destroy the actions, it's pride. Pride, ujb, that also destroys actions. So over here also we have to be extra careful that we don't fall into these traps of these diseases, and that would destroy our actions. So ziyarat tips and etiquettes, most of them we all know. Now one of the main, it's this thing that just remember and keep that in your mind. It's the fast of Hazrat Maryam, that is after disembarkation, to be observed, that go on a reserve mode. Lan ukallim al-yawma insiya. Bismillah, Arif.
Shukriya, I think very valid points noted. And as Agha said, that patience is required. It does not mean that we are not ready. Alhamdulillah, we are going to be ready for all this service that we will provide you. Inshallah, the food will be good. First, inshallah, that needs some patience. Maybe it will not be to your taste. Without further ado, I would request Wajid Islam, Maulana Sayyid Farad Abbas, to please address some issues that we are going to talk about. The significance of major maqamat,